Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel, and this is your tip of the week. This is a jelly roll, and I've shown you these before, but for those of you that are new to this channel, what it is strips that are cut 2.5 inches wide by about 42 inches long. There's usually 5 or 6 different patterns in here, and they're all coordinated colors together. So let's say you want to make a quilt, table runner, placemats, whatever you're working on, all the colors are coordinated together, so it takes all the guessing out. Plus, you don't have to take the time to cut all of those strips. Now, you also have leftover jelly roll strips. At least I do. I have a whole drawer full of them. I usually keep them together if it was from a particular project. All the colors are still coordinated. So supposing I have a smaller project, I can pull these out and they're still all together. Now, here are fat quarters. And these are usually 18 inches by 20 to 21 inches in size. Another thing about these is that all of the colors are coordinated. They will work really well together. And there again, it takes out the guessing. Then you have your prints. This has primarily yellow in every piece of fabric on here, or it has blue. So they all work together. So you can also cut these in to jelly roll size when you're working on a smaller project. And later in this tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate not just doing the 2.5 inch, but I'm going to show you how to kind of mix it up a little bit. Here is a tote bag. It's got 2 different fabrics on it. Now these are coordinated together, but I'm going to give you some suggestions of how you can use your jelly roll strips to make this bag. So I've got the jelly roll strips up here. This would be the top edge, and then this would be the bottom edge. Now, in order for you to turn this into the tote bag I just showed you, it's a boxed bottom. So even if you wanted this to go right through the middle of the bag, you have to make sure that this fabric is longer, because once you turn this part under for the box bottom, then it will be the same size. So to get this started, what you would do is first stitch all your jelly roll strips together, and you usually use a 1/4 inch seam. And then you would stitch it to the edge of your other fabric. So you make one for the back and one for the front. Then you would bring front sides together and continue with whatever tote bag you are making. And usually, if you're doing a boxed bottom, you always cut out a square at the bottom, and then that goes underneath the bag to form that box bottom shape. And then you would continue with the rest of the instructions. So if you're interested in doing this, there will be a link below your YouTube screen in the description section to turn something like this into a box bottom bag. Now, here are some table runners. They're the same style, just different colors. And you just stitch them all together, and then you can finish it off, your edges off, any way you choose. Here's another way you can use up jelly roll strips. Now, I'm not telling you to make this patriotic thing. It's just an example of you can run your jelly roll strips all going along the long ways down your table. And then another thing you can do is make any kind of quilt block design you want at the other or at each end. Also, if you have an embroidery machine, you can embroider a design that coordinates with the stripes in your runner. This pattern is called a bricklayer design. Now, this is in a table runner, but you can make this into a quilt. You can even make it into pillows, really anything you want. So how you would do it is you would cut your pieces whatever length you wanted, your jelly roll strips. Then you would stitch them all together, and I have 7 rows here. Lay all your rows out. then every other row you're going to pull it to where it's off center. So here's a seam. On the next row, the seam is in the middle here. And then you go back this way. And it just zigzags across. And it makes a really interesting design. Here's a table runner with jelly roll strips. Now, not all your strips have to be the same size. So let's say you don't want to use a jelly roll, but you want to cut your own strips, and you want just to make it a little different. So here, these are the 2.5 inch wide. Then on the next one, I cut it wider. I'd say it's about 5 or 6 inches. It's because I wanted to show off the birds in this fabric. So I kept repeating jelly roll strips with this piece, jelly roll strips with the same bird fabric. This is a stack of fat quarters, and I think I have 5 in this stack. So I'm going to show you how you can go about cutting the 2.5 inch wide strips really fast. So I've got them all pressed out, got them layered. They're not all exactly the same size, so it's very important you always cut it straight, because these edges are not exactly straight. The edges along here are not exactly straight. So always cut it out first. So what I'm going to do is I'll first cut this edge straight over here to get started. Then I'm going to cut different widths along here, because I want to make a table runner that's a variety of widths, all of the strips. So I'm going to cut the first one 2.5 inches, the next one 3, then 3.5 inches, 4, and then 4.5. Now I've pulled this edge past a line on my cutting mat, and I really like using a cutting mat to do this because you can get better accuracy and it goes so much faster. So then take the edge of the ruler to line up on one of the lines you selected, and you want to make sure it's nice and straight. And you've got it all lined up, and then go ahead and cut the first edge straight. Now I'm going to move over 2.5 inches. And again, I'm double checking to make sure everything is straight. And then do a cut. Now my next one, I'm going to go over 3 inches. 1, 2, 3 inches. And again, double check. Now I'm going to go over 3.5. Now you don't have to watch me cut all of these. So the next cut will be 3.5, 4, 4.5. So after I finished cutting everything, I just randomly grabbed different sizes and put them together. Now I didn't put them all out. I could have made a quite sizable table runner out of just that stack of 5 fat quarters, because I have a very long dining table, so it probably would have fit really well. But you can see it still looks good together. Even if they are different sizes, it adds just a little more interest to it. So down below your YouTube screen, I'm going to have some links that you can go to, and it'll show you a nice method of how to stitch these together and get them nice and even, because that's sometimes kind of hard. And then I'll have other links down there that pertain to what I've talked about in this tip of the week. Well, I hope you've learned something new out of all this, and you'll try cutting strips all different sizes, randomly putting them together either in the table runner, a pillow, placemats, and then also, of course, in a quilt. Now, don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and make sure you check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.